Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Let's jump into roll call. Eric Bennett.
Here.
Joey Bryant.
Here.
Maddie Crowell.
Here.
Julia Felici.
Here.
Shelby Hamblin.
Here.
Alex Horning.
Here.
Dr. Martin Kennedy.
Here.
Lacey Lampkins.
Here.
Kane Lamisters.
Here.
Danae Skiles.
Here.
Patrick Stanton.
Here.
Stephanie Tretchell.
Here.
All right. Moving into the agenda approval for this week. You guys all review that, please. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this week's agenda. Maddie moves, Eric seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving into the approval of last week's minutes. Could you all review that, please? There's a motion on the table to approve this week's, last week's minutes. Shelby seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving into the reports for this week. I have no reports for you guys.
Do you want to
Sure. Oh yeah. So I have two pieces. One is we determined dinner, but we do need to get a number, so that way we can make the reservation. So for those of you attending, and again, you're allowed to bring guests, but they have to pay for themselves. But we need to get that to Vinay. When do you want that by, Vinay?
I don't know, next week sometime?
By next
'cause we
Wednesday.
I already called Yellow Church and told them that it was going to be a big group, like 15 to 18, something
Yeah.
like that. So they said that we could, but they're going to want a final number.
Yeah.
Probably
So if we can get it by
next Wednesday.
week. Yeah.
And then the dinner is the following Wednesday?
It's the 30th,
Yep.
yeah.
So as a reminder, we won't meet next week because of Source. We will have one meeting after that. On the 23rd is our last business meeting, and then that following week is the dinner. So make sure just to send confirmation to Vinay via email, or you can tell her after this meeting so she can get those down.
And we're meeting at Yellow Church and not here.
Yes, we are meeting at Yellow Church,
At
not
6?
here. We'll
At
send
6.
out the invite information, when we have that. But and then the other one was just the update from Budget Executive Committee yesterday. Voted on the supplemental request that we had up to that point and approved them moving forward. The only one where there's really any discussion was on the Atlantis Medical Fellowship one, where there's questions about that, since there hasn't been a precedent of that before. So the committee did have some questions concerning that and the amount that was awarded to an individual student on that piece, and so we filled them in on the discussion you all had had. It was very similar to the conversations you all had had, but those all did move forward.
And I have a couple of reports. The first one is I actually had someone reach out to me for a supplemental request that is for the Lion Rock writing series. So the speakers that come is basically what it looks like that is on the supplemental. However, this is actually for next year. And so I just wanted to see if the committee actually wanted to see or hear the request, even though it's going to be the funding would be for next year. Yeah.
Would the funding come out of next year's budget as well?
Well, they could either come like next week or the week after and request it out of this budget, or not and then postpone it until the next committee. But I think the series actually starts before usually, and I think they're trying to be ahead of the game is the push on why.
What month?
It actually goes through, I believe there's multiple series, and I don't have the calendar, I don't think.
Well, to answer your question, Alex, so if you all were to be voting to allocate funds, you'd be voting for this year's supplemental instead of you all voting for next year's committee's money. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have, they don't have the dates, but they have fall broken out, and then winter and spring. So it's obviously a series that goes through the whole year.
Does this require a motion?
You can make a motion.
Can I motion to table this until next year's board, simply because we're running out as it is, and so this would give them an opportunity to get potentially full funding from a fresh budget, while as right now at the tail end of our budget, it would make it very difficult for them.
There's a motion on the table to table this request until next year. Maddie seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
And the only other report is I just want to let you guys know there's $24,536.65 left in the supplemental budget for this year.
Any more reports?
Nope.
Moving on to section 6, public comment first call. Is there any public comment at this time? Alex?
Apply for Top Cats. It's scholarship money. It's on the student government page.
Any further public comment at this time? Seeing none, moving into section 7, old business, voting on supplemental funding request 1852, the International Horn Symposium in the amount of $5,000. The table is open for discussion.
Hello, my name is Ian Monahan. I was told you wanted us to come back and present a little bit more or answer some questions from last week. As you remember, I'm the president of the Horn Club here on campus. Our group is going to the International Horn Symposium this summer and runs from Ball State University in Indiana. We have about half of our ensemble here tonight as well as our advisors, so we don't just have to ask questions to me, you can ask to any of the groups.
Thank you.
And I think the main question, and then the committee can ask, because I think the main question was talking about what expenses for this trip, whether it be for this part or outside that, are coming out of the student's pocket. Whether there's trips you all are going on outside of just going to the symposium, or there's other pieces. Wanting to know what the actual expense or cost was to the individual students.
Right, so our hope is that no students will be paying for this trip out of pocket. We do a lot of fundraising throughout the year. We're going to continue to do so throughout this quarter. We did go to a regional event, a similar event in IPLU this last quarter, or early this quarter, and we did pay for that whole event for all the students to go outside of our club budget. We were going to use that money in a way to leverage ourselves for Club Senate to say, hey, we put this work forward to try and make these students these events possible. And then obviously Club Senate fell through. But like I said, we're hoping that no students have to pay for any of this event out of pocket.
You asked about outside trips. There are no outside trips. Nothing. It's just this.
Thank you. And just a point of information, this is where the committee, for us to discuss the vote, and then they're here if you all would like to ask them questions. But this is for you all to deliberate on the vote itself.
Alex?
So is everybody kind of on the same page of where we were last week, where based on the math that we were looking at, because we got, it was not 2,000 from career service, it was 300 that was given.
Right, yeah.
So then that changed the number from 16,000 to 15,071. And then that, based off the expenses that they were given, the actual amount needed was $3,552.88, not the original 5,000 that was on the front.
Julia?
I think that number was different than that as well, because we had discussed it even further, and I think
Yeah.
Maddie has the correct number, because I didn't write it down.
It's at my house.
I didn't write it down here.
Wait, that was,
It was a lower, it was
Wait,
Yeah.
14 something when we bounced out the expenses.
Maybe it's in our last week's minute.
And we had tabled that previous motion to the.
14, 23,
So that
88.
motion is still on the table.
Yeah, so, yeah, that Stephanie
14, 23, 88.
was the calculated expenses for the trip.
Which is the motion on the table, correct, Eric?
1,500.
Oh, we bumped.
The motion was
Yeah,
amended
yeah.
to 1,500.
Okay.
And that's the one that was tabled.
So that is still on the table for discussion.
That's
Just
the
as
1,500 is the number?
$1,500 for this is what the motion is.
okay.
So,
No, that's okay.
May I ask you a question?
yes.
So you've changed the amount from 5,000 to 1,500?
Well, to clarify, so the committee, the request is still for $5,000. The committee, based on the math of going what was the revenue sources listed, and based on what the actual expenses were, came down to, I believe, that the amount that was the difference between the two was $1,400 and some odd dollars, which then they rounded up to $1,500. So the motion, based on the committee's discussion at that time, was to fund it for $1,500.
The understanding is that the $5,000 was proposed to cover what we expected was $2,000, I think, from the Senate or more, that was not funded.
Yep.
They spent all their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to call the previous question.
Stephanie has a question.
Stephanie?
Well, I was gonna ask if I can make a motion.
Yes.
We're
There's
in
a
the-
motion
we're
on.
on-
Yeah,
Oh, we're on the
we're in the
motion.
discussion of the amount of $1,500.
So there's no,
the-
can we
So
vote
the
then?
motion last
Eric
week
has-
was $1,500, so
Right.
that's what was tabled. That's
Yeah.
what we're on now. So now we're in the discussion phase of that motion. And so he was moving to call the question, in which case we would vote on $1,500.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Go
so
for
we're
it.
So Eric, was that called the question?
Yes, please.
All those in favor?
Previously on SNA.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes in the amount of $1,500.
Thank you.
Moving on to voting on supplemental funding request 1853, the postseason baseball tickets in the amount of $3,000. Table is open for discussion. Alex?
If I remember correctly, this was pretty much just a copy and paste of the football thing they did last time, which unfortunately they lost in the first round, but fortunately for our budget, they lost in the first round. So this could potentially end up being the same thing, in which case 3,000 is the allotted amount, but it's also very, it's a possibility that we could not end up spending the 3,000. So I make a motion to approve $3,000 for the GNAC baseball tournament.
There's a motion on the table in the full amount. Maddie seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes in the full amount. Moving on to section 8, new business supplemental funding request presentation 1855, the Atlantis Medical Fellowship in the amount of $6,100.
There's a clicker right for me. There we go.
I am Kaylee Shaw, and I am trying to go on an Atlantis Medical Fellowship to Faro, Portugal this summer. Faro was founded by J.P. It started in Faro, Portugal, which is where I'm trying to go. Their mission is to equip the next generation of global medical leaders to pursue their callings passionately. And they want each fellow that's attending the fellowship to be able to think and get ethical solidity and educational value through these fellowships. I'm going to Faro, Portugal, like I said. I would be leaving on the 30th and going for 4 weeks to July 27th. And I would get to shadow a physician in different specialties for at least 20 hours a week, if not more. This is the tentative schedule of what my week would look like each week. So we do Monday through Thursday. Usually they start about 9 a.m. in the morning and go till 2:30 in the afternoon. And then the afternoon is for free time with your group or on your own. And then Friday they have set up excursions on throughout the area with our groups. And then Saturday and Sunday is our time to go do whatever we want, either as individuals or with other group members. I will be at the Hospital de Faro. It's a merger between a private and a public hospital. The public hospital is called Faro Hospital, and then the private one that they merged with is the Alzore Hospital. Sorry. The learning outcomes, I'm gonna do personal networking, gain clinical and shadowing hours that are necessary for me to get into medical schools in the United States. And then I'm gonna do observation of a variety of specialties to figure out which one I'd like to pursue. I'm between pediatrics and emergency, which are both offered in the hospital that I would be shadowing. And it gives me exposure to different cultures, and I might be able to observe different surgical procedures that I wouldn't be able to here because of HIPAA law. And through this program, they allow me to be in the surgery room. As to bringing it back to Central, I would bring awareness to the Free Med Club that there are different possibilities out here that are offered through the United States, but you can go and experience it in other cultures. I would heighten the retention rates for the pre-med students here at Central. There's currently 11,500 students at Central, and only 250 are declared pre-med. And then I would share experiences with my peers and allow them to connect with people I've connected with so they can start their connection process. As for the funding, I'm no longer asking for $6,100. I need $4,850 as I got a scholarship for $900 through the Atlantis program. I started a GoFundMe page and I'm currently at $400 and it is still open. And I'm expecting more from people who said that they have or that they will donate but have not yet. I just learned that SAS has no money anymore, so that $300 is not there. And then personal savings, I've taken it out of my paychecks as much as I can, and I've currently saved $175, but I'm still adding to it each week when I get paid. So I've saved, I've put in $1,700, and I've also paid a $900 enrollment fee on my own out of pocket already.
Does the committee have any questions? Yes, Stephanie?
I have two. For the funding, so since you put $400 in, but you had to take $300 out from SAS, is the $4,850 the right number, or are we adding?
I can, well, the $4,850 would be fine. I can do $300. I just would have to save a little bit more on my own than I was planning on pocketing out right away, but I can get it covered. Like I can manage.
And then my next question was, when are you graduating? Like, are you coming back onto CWU campus after this?
I'm not planning on coming back, but I'm also looking at possibly a post-bac to get my GPA a little bit higher to get into master's programs.
So that'd be a good way to like spread your.
Yes.
Cool.
Shelby?
So just for clarification, are you a graduating senior?
I am. I will be walking in the spring, but I am doing summer classes as well.
Any further questions? Thank you. We'll vote on this next week. Moving on to supplemental funding request presentation, 1856, the Trumpet Club Adams Festival in California in the amount of $3,143.46.
Do you guys have your jump drive?
Yeah. It's in an email. Is that?
Oh.
For that one?
You need this.
They need the keyboard.
Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Bell, and this is Daniel Hendrick, and we represent the Central Washington University Trumpet Club as president and vice president, respectively. And we're here to request, as you said, $3,143.46 to send 9 students to the 4th annual William Adam Trumpet Festival in Glendora, California this summer. And essentially, so William Adam was the trumpet professor at Indiana University for the latter part of the 20th century, and his students went on to become some of the finest trumpet players and teachers from around the country. One of his students includes our trumpet professor here, John Harbaugh, and a few years after his death, which was recent, many of his students came together and decided to form an annual trumpet festival where they could talk about his teachings and philosophies on trumpet playing and share that with the younger generation to continue his legacy. And now Daniel will talk more about what happens at the festival and the benefits for being able to attend.
So it's a 3-day event. It moves from different universities each year. Last year we went to it where it was hosted in Norman, Oklahoma. This year it's in Glendora, California, hosted at Azusa Pacific University. So basically it's a 3-day event where there is clinics, master classes, jam sessions where you get to hang out and play your instrument with these other pros and other college students like you. There's also free lessons. You can sign up for little lesson windows with lots of the different other trumpet players. And I've just got some pictures off of their website of who's going to be there. So down here we have a recording artist, Chris Bodie. And then over there we have Jerry Hay. I think some of you guys helped us get money from for our Trumpet Fest, where we actually brought in Jerry Hay, but we get to go see, hopefully we'll get to go see him again. Then over here we have Bob Slack, who is the trumpet professor at Azusa Pacific University. Then we have Greg Wing, who's the trumpet professor at Morehead State University in Kentucky. On the top is our very own John Harbaugh, and in the middle is legendary recording artist Charlie Davis. And then on the end, upper corner there is Carl Sievers. All of these people will be there giving lessons, clinics, master classes there for us to talk to and network with. And even potentially what we wrote in the packet there is a great opportunity for us to make an early connection if we were looking to go to grad school and study with some of these guys on the next level.
So basically the rundown of where the money would go to. Gasoline for travel, we decided to all drive there, as plane tickets for 9 students would be about $3,000 on its own, so driving was the cheapest option. We calculated that number by taking each car that we would drive, the gas mileage of it, and the mileage of how long it would take to get there and how long back. We came to that number. And then the registration fees, it was $75 per student, which comes out to $675. And then we have 2 hotel rooms for 4 nights, which comes out to that number, totaling the requested amount. And we initially were going to also ask for funding from Club Senate and Student Academic Senate, but they have run out of money, so we were unable to do that.
This is essentially our itinerary. Is we'll be leaving on Wednesday, which gives us an entire day of travel, as it's about a 15-17 hour drive. We get there Wednesday night because the festival starts bright and early Thursday morning. So we get to our hotel Wednesday night, wake up for the festival, and we'd be doing festival activities basically from 9 in the morning till about 7 at night. That's all day. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we come back home, go to sleep, and then on Sunday morning, we depart from Glendora on our way back to Washington. It's a very simple trip where we're just going down there for the festival, and then we're coming back up. The only thing we're paying for out of pocket is our food expenses. Each person is on their own for food, as the festival doesn't cover meals and things like that. So that's money we're willing to pay for ourselves. Do you guys have any questions?
Stephanie?
I think I'm just curious how long the drive is.
It's about 15 to 17 hours, depending on traffic and things like that, if we were to leave from Ellensburg. Yeah. Oh, of course.
Can you explain the mileage breakdown, the way you figured the cost of the gasoline?
Yeah, so we have the cars that we know we're going to drive, and we just took like the average mileage per hour that miles per gallon that each vehicle gets, and then multiply that by the number of miles to and from California, and that's how much it came to.
We also calculated that considering our average cost of gas would be $3.50. It's noted in there. That's the average rate, depending on fuel stops.
Okay.
Yep.
So you noted on here that you have about $1,500 in your fundraising or your club account. Were you planning on using any of that to fund your trip at all? Because it doesn't look like you were.
Right. No, we were not. So in the beginning, in early November each year, we host the annual CWU Trumpet Fest here, where we use that money to pay for all of the housing and clinician fees for the clinicians we bring at Trumpet Fest, which we begin planning in the end of August. So we were hoping not to use that money, though we did write in our funding request that we'd be willing to pay for registration out of our club account. But that our club account money, we need that to pay for upfront, all of the upfront costs to host CWU Trumpet Fest, which happens right at the beginning of the year. Typically before because since everything happens on a reimbursement process, we have to have the initial money to make the spending to get reimbursed.
Yeah, and typically what happens with that is we spend pretty much all the money in the account to go towards those upfront expenses, and then through the registration fees of people and schools coming to that festival, it makes up the new accumulated amount in the club, and that sort of cycles through every year.
Shelby?
What's the breakdown of the students going in terms of like seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen?
Everyone going, I believe, is all sophomores and juniors. I don't know. I couldn't think of the exact numbers, but we don't have any graduating seniors. Everybody will return back as a CWU student in the fall. Yeah, we have one graduate student too going.
Any further questions for presenters? Eric?
I just have a question for Lacey. For the gasoline, will then be based on per diem from the state of Washington, or?
There's actually a mileage calculator out there, and I believe it's, last time I checked, I think it was like 57 cents a mile. So, yeah. Sometimes it's cheaper with gas receipts, and so some people do it that way versus getting paid the extra additional. So.
Any further questions? Thank you for voting on this next week, or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to supplemental funding request presentation 1857, the student barbecue with police co-hosted by Brother to Brother in the amount of $1,400.
Hello. I don't have a presentation, just the form that I think you guys all have. Hopefully you've read through it. I'm here representing Jason Koch. He's the chief of police. He's our chief of CWU PD, and he's attending a dinner with President Godino tonight, so he couldn't be in attendance. But yeah, representing him, and I'm also the co-president of the Club Brother to Brother on campus, and we're hosting a barbecue together. So yeah. The price breakdown and everything is in there. We have some funding coming from elsewhere, CWU Foundation. Jason has $800 coming from the foundation, and then we have a donor in town, Dallas, is donating money to our shirt project too, so we can print out shirts too. And, yeah, the purpose of the project here, the purpose of our barbecue, is to help sort of build a safe environment and a cohesive community, especially with campus PD and students, especially in light of current political circumstances. I'm sure you guys probably pretty familiar with those kind of things. So, yeah. Any questions? I mean, I want to be as transparent as possible.
Stephanie?
So you said your goal is to get 250 students. Does that mean it's open to everybody?
It is open to all students.
And no ticket costs are free?
Yep. We're going to do games though. So we have a couple of different subcommittees assembled. Games, music, hiring a DJ is part of the music one, but we're going to do some beer goggle driving too, which will be a fun event. We'll do a couple of different yard games as well. Some pretty cool, informative and interactive activities, but yeah, open to the public. Yep.
Shelby?
So how will you guys get the word out about this event?
Yeah, well, one of my committees right now is working on flyers. We have a flyer created. We're
the only thing about the biggest kind of bureaucratic process to this is that we're also doing it with the PSU too. Kind of a brother to brother CWPD featuring BSU, Black Student Union. And so we kind of have to seek their approval on some flyers. But we have flyers. We're doing a social media ramp up. Got my social media team marketing pretty heavy on this right now too. We're looking at getting a Snapchat filter. Yeah, we have some pretty cool moves in the works. And I'm sure you guys, hopefully you remember me from the Atlanta trip that you guys helped fund. And that was just absolutely pivotal for a lot of tears, a lot of breakdown of pride and social norm, but a lot of healing. And so we came back from this trip a couple of weeks ago, ready to move forward, ready to charge and help to dissolve these social barriers that exist. So that's what this project is. First of May.
Joyce.
So I have one as an update from Jason, and then I have a question for you. Sure. One is just to be aware that the date and location have changed. I hope you know this. As I'm saying, is that it's not going to be Friday the 18th, it's going to be Wednesday the 23rd, and it's not going to be in the parking lot. They're looking, and I believe it's going to be the Bartle lawn, which will also work with increasing visibility to get people attracted to it, to have it in a central location and have a Wednesday during the day. My question to you is there a reason you all are using a DJ service and not the radio station?
Yeah, so that was something that was brought up at our meetings using 98.1. But we felt like that especially having sort of a community inclusive event, we wanted to be a little bit more student represented. So we're doing student outreach for that one. And then we're creating a playlist ourselves, clean and edited and stuff, of course. But these are going to be pretty modern hits and stuff. Love 98.1 Berg and stuff, and I love it, but we're going for a little bit different spin. I'm sure you.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Not for, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did I hear that this is going to be on the 23rd?
Yep. Which is the day we'll be voting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to vote on it sooner than that? Okay.
No, they just have to request before.
Yep.
Moving on to supplemental funding request presentation, 1858, the Freedom 2018 from SALT in the amount of $8,356.10.
Ooh, I get a clicker, right?
You get a clicker. You got 10 minutes.
Okay, I got 10 minutes. Let me just make sure. Okay. Hey, guys. My name's Drew. I've been a senior here, so this is my 4th year. I was on the football team for 4 years. That's how I came here. Thank you. And I've been a part of SALT for the last 2 years, which is an on-campus club and ministry. I've been on staff with them for the last 6 months. I've really been enjoying that. I've also been the president of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which has been on this university for a while. But I want to introduce everyone who's here. So.
My name is Kyle Knudsen. I am also a senior here. I am done in 30 days, and I'm counting the hours on the website. I can't
On the
do
website.
more homework. So this is my 4th year here, and since I've been here, I've studied abroad in Japan for 6 months. I've gotten super involved in the international community, and I'm about to graduate with a finance and econ degree, and I'm gonna possibly pursue a career at Central. So we'll see what happens with that.
I'm Doug McCullough. I'm on staff with FCA. Central alum, graduated in 07. Been a part of FCA for 6 years now. So yeah, been a local for 13 years.
Man in the back.
And the reason I'm here is, unfortunately, their faculty advisor wasn't able to attend, so Drew was kind enough to ask if I would step in this evening. My name's Scott Drummond. I used to be a big deal around here.
No, you still are, Scott.
In my own mind.
You still are.
But I was the director of campus activities, worked extensively, of course, with many S&A processes, et cetera. So, like I said, Drew was kind enough to ask if I would step in if there's anything I can provide as far as any questions or service or whatever. I retired 15 months ago, as it turns out. So, but I also am a Central grad and all that good stuff. So,
That's legit. Thank you, Scott. It's kind of our insurance in case you ask to make tough questions. So, okay, we really want to talk to you guys about this. We're super excited. So, Freedom 2018 is really a night where all the campus ministries, as you guys know, there's a large Christian community on our campus. And so we want to draw from all the local churches. Campus ministries, we're coming together for a night of worship music, prayer, and there's going to be messages from Central students. If you recognize the handsome man on the far left, that is myself. But all three of these guys are going to be future pastors. So we're really excited that it's going to be Central students sharing to other Central students, and we're opening it up to the entire Ellensburg community. So we just want to make sure that you guys know, like, our clubs. I know, we're Christian ministries, but we're also really actively involved on campus and with the students' lives, whether they're in our club or not in our club. So this is something we do. This is what Salt Ministry does every Tuesday. Thank you for the sound, Lacey. So every Tuesday, we go on the CERC patio. We hand out treats. That's a hot chocolate backpack, and it's pretty sick. But we just talk with students. We love up on students. We invite them to come to Salt. And we just, honestly, like this last Tuesday, we were just giving out high fives because we love our campus. And we do that every single Tuesday from 11 to 1. And that's just one of the things that our SALT Club does. We also do Engaged Kittitas, which is really been a growing project that we've been outreaching to the community. That's ran through Mercer Creek Church, but that's cleaning up around the community. That's helping people with car troubles. I mean, it's everything. We also believe that we provide a safe environment for students on Tuesday nights through our church. And our slogan at SALT is, "You don't have to believe to belong," and we truly believe that. And we think that just the church in itself is a place where students can go where they're stressed, and they can come and they can chill out, and it's awesome. And we also have small groups, which are community groups, where kids can come together, students can come together and talk about their problems, like on campus, which are really real. And if you guys have any questions about that, we would love, because Kyle and I are the spitting image of broken college kids. So we'd love to talk about that.
Hi, my name is Jordan Floyd. I'm part of Resonate Church.
You know what? The audio's kind of bad, so I'm just going to talk over. So this is Jordan. Jordan's from Resonate, which is the other large campus ministry. And we wanted to just make sure that you guys knew that there's other ministries alongside of us, and we have really good relations with Resonate. And some of the stuff that Resonate does on campus, they provide every year. They provide their big old blow-up TV screen for campus activities. They're running summer barbecues. They're helping out with movers and shakers. Thank you, Jordan. And they're running services in the community. But another important part of Resonate is they run their services in the CERC, upstairs in the CERC, and so that direct access is right there for the students. I asked him to send me a video. He's a cool dude. Jordan's on staff. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks. So that's just some of the stuff they do. They hold their services on campus. And again, they get involved with students live. They hold community groups in the dorms on campus. So they're rubbing shoulders with kids, making sure everything's going well in them. This is FCA, and we got Devin here to talk about FCA.
Yeah, so FCA exists to help coaches and athletes use their platform of sports to promote a positive message. And we do that here on campus through weekly meetings. My wife, who's also on staff, we take a group of college athletes and coaches when they're able to, and it's within NCAA guidelines. And we go to Ellensburg High, Morgan Middle School, Kittitas High Middle School, and we do just events with them, whether it's Dog Patch Olympics or some rugby camp or something like that, just a clinic, and work with these kids and get these college students engaged with them, so that get some of these local kids to look in their backyard to go to college and know other athletes that when they get here, if they're going to play sports or even if they're not. We also have a leadership camp where we take college kids and have them as camp counselors and bring in middle school and high school kids and help them develop leadership skills, and we do that. Our next one is coming up, actually graduation weekend, so Drew's not going to be there. But yeah, we do that. We also have a big NNU all sports camp where we pull 60, 70 college students from around the Northwest, and middle school, high school kids from across the Northwest and work on growing their walk with God, as well as just improving their sports abilities, whether they're third string or all-state. We also worked on global outreach. A couple years ago, we took a group of Central students, took them to Uganda, Africa, and visited, what was it, 5 or
12.
6, 12
It was
orphanages.
12
Yeah, 12 orphanages. They did soccer and volleyball camps. Not that these kids are going to go off to be the next Pele or anything, but it got those kids to forget about their situation and enjoy sports and enjoy life through sports. And from that, we actually had one gal that graduated from Central and went back to Africa for 6 months to work in orphanages. And we were able to help get that arranged for her. And then Operation Christmas Child, this last Christmas, we took shoe boxes. I think we had like 60 shoe boxes we filled with just toys and socks, different stuff like that. And those were sent to orphans all over the world, just so they'd have something to open on Christmas morning. And then we also have connections with down in White Swan with the Yakima Nation, and we go down there. We've taken the women's basketball team and the women's rugby team and done basketball and rugby clinics with them, just to share a positive message and give them something fun, because who doesn't love at least watching sports or engaging in sports?
Right? Yeah, thanks, Devin. Hey, so we realized that the message on our campus with Christians isn't a super positive one, because for a lot of kids on our school, their only interaction when they heard the word Jesus was those crazy dudes out on the lawn last year. It was this guy, one on his website. And he stood out there and he said things like women are whores and that you all are going to hell. And the reality is that's what people associate with Christians. And we're not saying like we're perfect by any means, like we for sure screw up, but that is not our message. And we believe that there's a stigma on our campus that all Christians are like this. And the reality is they're not. And I hope you guys can see from our community outreach that our hearts really are to serve people, to love people, and that's what we really strive to do. So we want to rewrite some notions of Christianity on our campus, and we also there's a lot of kids who don't feel safe going to church. It's too churchy, and so we believe our venue, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, at Tomlinson Stadium, is going to provide them like a safe place to come and hear the message if they want to hear it. Like if that's a desire in their life, we want to give them a safe atmosphere where they can go. They feel like they're not judged. They can go sit with a large crowd and hear the message. So we're now going to go into our budgetary asks, and I know you guys have a sheet, and we just want to let you guys know we have specific numbers up here. We inflated them because we don't know of miscellaneous costs, i.e. We're looking for power sources for our sound. We got a couple thousand in there for staging. We just don't know of any extra expenses. So Kyle's going to talk about the expenses.
And pardon the interruption, but since their 10 minutes are up, there needs to be a motion on the table in order for them to keep presenting. Alex?
Yep, motion.
There's a motion on the table to extend their presentation by 5 minutes. Kane seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carry on.
Thanks.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk money. So we picked Tomlinson Stadium because, again, like, there can be a negative connotation with even the name Jesus or the word church and the idea of going to church for something. We want this to be an idea that you can come here, the doors are open and like the arms are open and you can come here and be loved, and it is open to every single student on this campus, and like that's our goal, is to reach every single person. It does any type of demographic, it doesn't matter. We want them to know that
you got 5 minutes, brother.
I know, okay. That they are welcome here. So like that's our number one goal, is to just pack this place with Central students in the Central community, you know. So advertising, social media, so far we spent $50 up to this point. Some of my own money, one of the other guys' own money. On Facebook advertising, we have geared that demographic. You can actually gear the ad towards certain demographics of people. So like ages 15 to 24, we paid specifically for that in Washington State. If we get more money, we're gonna gear it towards literally Central Washington University. So we want to get the message out. I think we can get it up to we can reach 28,000 people in this state and within this community in the Valley and at Central. So that's our goal on the Facebook advertising area. We paid $50 for a website domain name. So far, we're asking $100 for printing money, and we paid $30 to this point for flyers. We put flyers in every single dorm, all over the circ, every building. You saw it earlier. It was that one with the yellow cross and it said Freedom 2018. We had that designed by a graphic design student. So we want to get the message out there, and just get that flyer in everyone's hand, make sure everyone sees it. And then newspapers. So. TV and radio is going to be about $350. For example, the Daily Record is $160 for 4 weeks. I've called K-Love, and we have our advertisement on their website, and pending getting it announced on the radio. We're going to be on 88.1 The Berg announcements by the start of next week. KXLE, we're pending getting on their announcements. Airfare $3,000, so we spent $700 thus far. So it's round trip. It was going to be more expensive. So the 4 people that were flying up from Louisiana for our 10-person worship team, 4 of them are coming from Louisiana, and it was cheaper to do $700 one way here and then going back. So we're asking for $3,000 total to reimburse this $700 chunk, and then going back would be a little bit more expensive. So, that was the cheapest way to stamp right there, pay $700 for one-way tickets. So we are pursuing the cheapest possible route. They don't have any housing expenses because we are posting them up with people in the Ellensburg community. Again, we are trying to involve everyone. $88.10 for Berg equipment. We are pursuing, again, the cheapest possible route for this, and we're trying to keep it all central, just to get this stuff out there. Volunteer t-shirts, $495 estimate from Shirtworks for 100 t-shirts for all of our volunteers. We want to have them be able to be identified. It's cheaper than the $1,500 org, cheaper than the custom ink estimate. So we're, again, cheaper. Stage rental is $2,000. So the Kittitas Fairgrounds Coke stage is $1,100 or $1,194 and 1 cent. CWU facility, so we need a small stage because we have a 10-person worship band. It's very big. We want all central to hear this band, and loud music attracts people, and that is our goal, to attract every single student on this campus. We want it so much, I just can't explain it. I want every student to come and pack this Tomlinson Stadium, so that is it.
All right, thank you guys so much for giving us an extra clap.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Shelby?
So in an earlier slide, you mentioned the different campus ministries that you guys are involving in this project.
Yeah.
There are more campus ministries than are listed on your slide, so I was just wondering why you have chosen those specific ones.
Are you talking about on our slide or on our?
On your slide.
Okay, so on our flyer, it was kind of cut off on the end, but we have so SALT, Resonate, and then FCA and other local ministries. So Chi Alpha, we are talking to Catholic Campus Ministries.
I think I know what she's talking about. We included Mercer Creek Church and Calvary Baptist on our slides, and also Chi Alpha. Are you referring to the slide right there?
Yeah. Well, no, it's further back a little bit, but I just noticed it wasn't listing such things as the Catholic ministry or CWU Wesley, which is associated with the Methodist Church.
Yeah.
And I was just curious why you have chosen these specific.
Yeah, so we're in the process of coming alongside of and we've actually talked to the Catholic ministry, and they're coming alongside of us as well. We just wanted to highlight 2 for you guys because we know that Resonate and SALT and Fellowship of Christian Athletes have been really, they're kind of, I would say, known around the student population. So we were just highlighting those. But we've reached out to Catholic ministries as well as local churches, and we're working on getting the entire body. That's the thing, there's so many, but we've talked to campus ambassadors, Chi Alpha.
Thus far, though, those were the only names that said, yes, we support you, we're behind this, so you can put our name on there because we're firing on all cylinders here. We're still reaching out and pursuing other names too, just to, again, get every single group and student in on this.
Yeah. Good question.
Stephanie?
Are you guys not asking those other groups to contribute any monies or any resources?
Yeah, so do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we're saying contribute whatever you guys have to offer, and right now a lot of that is manpower as far as stage setup, because that stuff can be also super expensive too, having a sound tech, stage setup. So as of now, it's manpower and getting the word out, and something, it's called the Blitz. Resonate does something called the Blitz. So if they have an event, they literally round up everyone in their club, and for a week straight, they say, your #1 priority right now is to tell as many people face-to-face, and I think that's super valuable, face-to-face, what this event is, and that we want you to come, we want you to fill the seat there. So that's kind of the manpower that we're talking about.
Can I have one more point on top of that? I think another important thing to note is churches are already on fairly tight budgets. Us going around, if we ask for monetary value, like a lot of them are just going to say no and then like kind of close the door on us. So I mean, we really want, and our heart is for people to get plugged into these churches. So like, we really want like their support alongside of it. So that's the add.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk about if you've reached out to anybody else for funding pieces?
Yeah, so we are going to present to ESC next week. We talked to Club Santa, that budget is totally gone, obviously. We talked to SAS, budget's gone. And then also student involvement. Jeff Rosenberry, Executive Director of Student Involvement, I did talk to him and I had a meeting with him in his office, and he is using some of his budget to pay for a hype bomb just to get the word out in the bathroom stall, you know, when you're doing your thing and you see a flyer right there, and you know that's where you get the people, is the bathroom stalls. Everyone's got to do it, you know. So that's pretty much. So that came out of Jet's budget. So we're pursuing obviously finances from all places that we can. We love it.
Scott, did you have anything?
Yeah, and just if I could just remember what my earlier was. When you were talking about, when Stephanie was talking about some of the other groups and whether or not they're able to contribute. I think one of the things to note is because this is such a new event, a lot of the groups have already budgeted out their years. So what they are, like Drew and Kyle were saying, what they can contribute is people power, but they don't necessarily have any finances remaining for this in May.
Stephanie.
I had another 2 questions. I guess the first one is, since it's the first year, you're going to plan on trying to do it next year also, but you guys are both seniors, so would you...
Yeah.
You want to try and make it to next year too, or?
I don't know if it's feasible. And I think part of the attraction for us to do this kind of big event is that we're both 4-year students. We feel like we have some influence on this campus, and so we really wanted to do it. I don't know if it's going to be something that they continue, but the impact, hopefully, people getting plugged into Resonate, Chi Alpha, FCA, and those bodies growing, which is more people serving at Central Washington University. So that's hopefully the
And
impact.
ultimately just like people feeling like loved and included, because like, even we've been there feeling like broken and lost and depressed, or whatever your thing is, like as a student, that's so real to have like something like this where you like they can feel loved, even if it's for a night, but the goal is hopefully that it's for the rest of their life. But like that's like the ultimate goal, is to like the open arms, the doors are open for everyone, you know.
Shelby, did you have anything?
I did, yeah. And then, yeah.
Okay.
Have you also reached out to other interfaith groups on campus, Jewish, Buddhist, atheists, not necessarily religious, but in Islamic faiths on campus, to include them in this event?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we are inviting those groups, but one of the things with our faith, and I don't want to like get too churchy, but so we as Christians, we have separate messages from those, and I almost think it'd be like if there was a Republican Party going on, asking a Democrat to come and speak at it, like, so for us, like, we love those guys and we want them to come, and like for sure, and like that's the event, because as much as we know about Islam and Muslim, they share a lot of similar beliefs, and like you'd be surprised, a lot of people believe a lot of the same stuff, but we do have to be careful with like who we give the mic to, because we just don't really know kind of where everyone else stands. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was just curious, you didn't call on me, but I just started talking. I was wondering why you guys are flying musicians up from Louisiana when we have such a vibrant music community here at Central.
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of our one of the guys, Wyatt, who's a pastor at New Life out in Kittitas for middle schoolers, he's going to seminary next year, so Bible college at Bethany down in Louisiana, and their staff heard that Wyatt's putting on this event, and they're flying out 4 people to come support them. The reason why we put that on there, they're still going to fly out. They were asking us if we could provide any sort of funds for them to help them out. So we were like, yeah, this seems like, as far as budgetary stuff goes, we'd love to ask you guys to support that. But we do have like an awesome community of people over here for sure. And actually on Sunday night, Central students are playing the worship set, so that'll be cool.
Maddie?
I guess this is a question more for Lucy. Is that something that we're able to pay for since the people that they're flying here are not students?
Yeah, I mean, it would just be like a guest speaker or a guest entertainer.
And the people that were flying up, they're actually like, their major at this Bible college is like worship. Like that's what their major is. So
kind of like the trumpet, the trumpet players up there.
Right. So I mean that's what they're studying. So highly qualified.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Dude, thanks so much, guys. Yeah. Have a good one.
Wait, I have a quick question.
You had a question?
I had a quick question on the budget. Your shirts, you said you were gonna pay for like $500, but the shirts on here said $1,500.
Hey, yes.
Is that the change?
Yeah. So we heard
okay.
back from Shirtworks today.
Oh, okay.
Originally we were going through Custom Ink, which was $1,500, but we heard back from Shirtworks today for $500. So.
Sorry to put that.
And one more thing. It's kind of blurry on here. I assume it's 6 to 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
6 to 8 p.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And it's the last weekend before they tear down Tomlinson Stadium, so it's been cool with us for facilities. So, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Moving on to other business communications received. I haven't received anything.
No.
Moving on to public comment, second call. Any public comment at this time?
Top Cats.
Comment from Alex. Top Cats. Any further discussion?
Also, make sure to get to Vinay either tonight or via email by next Wednesday your RSVP. It's just you going, let her know that so we can get the numbers in. If you have anyone coming, and make sure they're aware they have to pay for themselves.
Any further public comment? I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Maddie moves, Stephanie seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. This meeting is adjourned at 6:56 p.m.
Can I please RSVP for one for me?
Remember that our next meeting is 2 weeks from now.